Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cern Files, where we cover all things related to internet mysteries, lost media, urban legends, and conspiracy theories. Today, we'll be discussing the origins of the Jeff the Killer image. I have my binder right here, and I've got the case file on it. And so let's just begin with the story on Jeff the Killer. Now, Jeff the Killer, the iconic creepypasta that everybody knows, was originally posted on August 28, 2011 on the Creepypasta wiki by Gamerfuel TV. The story followed a young boy, age 13, Jeffrey Woods, who moved to a new town alongside his brother Lou and their family. While they were waiting for the school bus on their first day of school, they were accosted by a gang of bullies who attempted to rob them. Jeff was overcome with a strange level of violence that did not meet the situation, and he brutally attacked the people who attempted to rob them, who used knives to threaten them. They fled the scene before anybody could arrive, so when police were called to the scene, the bullies told a different story to what actually happened. And they came to arrest Jeff and Lou, as they believed they had attacked them first without provocation. They believed that Lou had done it, and despite Jeff attempting to tell the truth that he had been the one to attack them, he was unable to, and Jeff's brother Lou willingly took the fall for him, and he was sent to a juvenile detention center. His parents still forced him to go to a birthday party for a much younger child than him. He didn't initially want to do this, but he eventually found himself enjoying it, playing cowboys. Eventually, the bullies who had attacked reappeared, hopping over the fence, now armed with firearms. They threatened the adults, which prevented them from getting into the situation, and Jeff began another fight with them, once again overcome this sudden violent urge, which may have meant the situation, but it was a strange level of violence that a 13-year-old was able to exude. During the course of the events of the fight, Jeff was covered in vodka and bleach, despite end of him in the bathroom. One of the still standing bullies noticed this, and there's a lighter that set Jeff ablaze. His skin was horribly burned, and in the aftermath, somehow survived. Jeff's brother Lou was released from the juvenile detention center once everything was cleared up, and after some time in a coma, Jeff reawoke to find himself horribly changed. His face is now pale white as a ghost, and his eyelids were gone, and he just didn't look anything recognizable than what he used to. This drove him off the edge, caused a mental break, and he burned off his eyelids, and he even burned off his eyelashes, and cut off his eyelids. In a homicidal frenzy, he killed all his family, including his brother Lou, telling him to go to sleep before running off within the night, never to be seen again, to become a spree killer, killing people by breaking into their homes and telling them to go to sleep before killing them. Now, initially, it was believed that the image was of a woman named Katie Robinson, who had posted a photograph of herself onto 4chan. The 4chaners mocked her for being overweight and made edits of the image to humiliate her. One of these edits was the Jeff the Killer image, and she later hung herself, with her sister posting about it on 4chan to shame them. It was later discovered that this was not true. The woman was actually not Katie Robinson, that wasn't even her name, and she was still alive and well even to this day. And her photo was traced back to a satirical religious website about a pastor who was a very mean, awful person, meant to kind of make fun of pastors and religious people. Now, this was initially believed, and that was several years ago we got this cleared up. Now, eventually, it was discovered that the story went back further. The story went back to 2008. As of August of 2008, an account on Newgrounds was created called Killer Jeff, where they claimed to be Jeff the Killer, and posted a Bloody Mary-like story, an early version of Jeff the Killer in August, and where if you went into the closet and turned around and said, "He's in here with me" 3 times, Jeff the Killer would appear, begin to chant harm at you. You'd tell him something nice about himself, and he would go away. But if you didn't, well, it would end really badly for you. Later on in the year, on October 1st, 2008, he posted a YouTube video telling the origin story of Jeff the Killer. In this version, he was not killed in a fight, but he was not injured in a fight, but rather got his face burned when he was trying to clean his bathtub using bleach. using acid. This video was eventually removed due to copyrighted music, but it is still archived. Now, currently, Killer Jeff goes by the name Susser. Now, he was actually interviewed a couple years back by famous YouTuber Scare Feedier, and he claimed that he actually made a Jeff Killer image. He used a latex mask to make the image. He doesn't know where it was anymore, and he also claimed there was a third image of Jeff the Killer standing by a bathtub with some chunks of flesh in his hands and skin and surface level injured burns around the hands as well. But there's no evidence of this image ever existing beyond this claim by Susser. Now, Susser is technically the official copyright owner for Jeff the Killer. All the costumes you see at the Halloween stores, the money from those goes back to Susser, and the merchandise also goes back to Susser, making him technically the owner of the character of Jeff the Killer, though he did not make the image. The design of Jeff the Killer was not made by him, but the character attached to the design is. So technically, everything you see, from those costume stores at the Halloween store, that money goes to Susser. Now, people eventually found a Japanese video posted on YouTube, which was posted back in November of 2007, titled NNN Special Broadcast, and adapted of a popular Japanese urban legend, which featured the Jeff the Killer image appearing about midway through the video for a brief amount of time. This was the first incident of Jeff the Killer coming from Japan. We would find more evidence later on in our search. As time went on, we began searching through Japanese websites and found an image, and Jeff the Killer was found on a Japanese website called paya.cc. The post was made on November 16, 2005 by a user called Omega Vault. Now, something strange was found. An earlier version of Jeff the Killer, much more rudimentary version. This version had a different, much smaller smile. The eyes were completely different. We were able to source the eyes from a Mr. Potato Head toy released in 1999. And had various differences, giving a much more rudimentary, strange look instead of the homicidal look. None of the redness around the cheeks, much more smaller, more realistic looking smile, and it was less heavily edited, known as JTK1. The first instance of this was found. Now, this version was found on an American website called speedguide.net on October, and was posted on October 21st, 2005. This is the only appearance of the JTK1 image in the West during this period of time. All other appearances from here on out are going to be from here. All other appearances of the JTK1 image are in Japan. No other appearances in the West are of the JTK image during this period of time. The image was also found on a variety of other websites like Gazo05.chipbox.jp, gamushaora.net, blog live Pori, paya.cc, several other websites, and hundreds of 2chan threads, the Japanese version of 4chan. Now, one person who posted the JTK1 image, who we actually know we were able to get in contact with, Mr. Mulholland, he claimed that the origins of the image came from a Japanese video of a middle-aged, overweight woman in a white shirt. And that it was a screenshot that was taken, edited, and turned into the JTK1 image. Now, the first ever appearance of the JTK image was on July 24th, 2005, on the website fileman.n1jp, and it was titled The Fear of Summer Nights. The description of it said, quote, "A certain celebrity before plastic surgery," end quote. Now, people in the comments of this mentioned they had seen the image prior. So this means that the JTK image goes back to prior to July 24th, 2005, and it goes back to Japan. Now, there is a specific person people believe could possibly be the JTK image. She was a popular person on the internet, as her boyfriend ran a whole blog about her weight loss journey, though this was out without her consent and without her knowledge. Posted many images of her, and she was bullied online for being kind of fat. Now, eventually, the tide turned on that idea, and people realized this was a bad thing to do, and tried to scrub her from the internet the best they could. To do images of her still remain online, despite their best attempt to scrub it. Once they realized what the boyfriend was doing was wrong, and that this was all being done without her will, he was possibly even making money off of it. And but so and we it's just generally believed, and it's generally believed to be her because of the fact by lining up her face with the JTK face, and things along with the teeth, structure of the teeth, add up and line up pretty well. That you overlay it just with a little bit of gesture, it could fit the structure of the face and stuff. And it's believed that she's most likely the one who was taken and used for the JTK image. We just don't have a photo that lines up. For what we can see, it's a black closet with some shirts hanging off on the side and her head's to the tilt. Oh no, any photos like that at all. Most of them are her outside and standing up. And it's possible it could also be someone else. There's also a theory that maybe it was never online. Somebody took a photo of it in private, never shared it with anybody, and it doesn't exist anymore. Which is possible, but there are many people that claim to have seen it prior to being edited, and possibly could have come from a camming website as well, which would have, and if it does come from a camming website, that needs a whole video. But there's also this implication that possibly, if it does come from a camming website, and it possibly could be pornographic, or that possibly could even be child porn, because camming, you know. But anyways, and that's all I gotta say for today's episode. This week's episode. I hope to see y'all around sometime soon, next week, and I'll see y'all around. So, bye, have a nice time.